Ford was an American industrialist. He was born on July 30th, 1863, in Michigan. His parents, William Ford, was from Ireland, and his mom, Mary Ford, was born in Michigan. In 1891, Ford became an engineer with the Edison Illuminating Company. In 1896, he completed a self-propelled vehicle, which he named Ford Quadricycle. After that, Henry wanted to start a company of his own. Ford and Alexander Y. Cummington formed a partnership. On June 16, 1908, the official name became Ford Motor Company. He created the Model T. It was introduced on October 1st, 1908. It had the steering wheel on the left, which soon every other company wanted to copy. This car was very simple to drive and both easy and cheap to repair. The Model T was so cheap that by the 1920s, a majority of American drivers already knew how to drive on the Model T. In 1913, Ford introduced the moving assembly belts into his plant, which enabled an enormous increase in production. This allowed his workers to recreate the same piece many times, making the production of the cars much faster. Sales passed 250,000 in 1914. By 1916, the price dropped to $360 for the basic touring car. Sales reached 472,000 by 1918. Half of all the cars in America were all Model T. Ford astonished the world in 1914 by offering a $5 per day wage. This would now be $120. This is more than the double rate of most of his workers. This move proved to be extremely profitable because the best mechanics in Detroit drove to Ford, bringing their human capital and expertise, raising productivity. He believed in the global expansion of his company. He opened Ford assembly plants in Britain and Canada in 1911, which soon became the biggest automobile producer in those countries. In 1912, Ford cooperated with Giovanni Angelini to launch the first Italian automobile assembly plants. He also, in 1920, opened companies in Germany, Australia, India, and France. Ford opposed to war. In 1915, the pacifist Rosika Schweimer gained favor with Ford. They agreed to fund a peace ship to Europe where World War I was raging. He and about 170 other prominent peace leaders traveled there. Ford talked to President Wilson about the mission but had no government support. Ford plants in Britain produced tractors to increase the British food supply, as well as truck, aircrafts, engines, and companies became a major supplier of weapons during World War I. In 1915, Henry and Clara Ford and their family donated money to build and equip the buildings and the staff of the hospital. For years, they kept giving regular set amount of money to the Henry Ford Health System Hospital. Sometimes Henry and Clara would pay for the bills for some selected kids and adult friends of the Ford family. Overall, Henry Ford should be considered a captain of industry. You might ask yourself why. Before Henry Ford, no cars were available for the common middle-class Americans. Only rich could afford a car. Henry Ford was the first one to make cars available for the middle-class Americans. He dropped the prices so much that it could benefit the lives of Americans by making them more independent on themselves. Only a captain of industry would improve his assembly line, not only to help his productions and make him earn money, but to help stimulate jobs in businesses. He did something that no one else did. He raised the minimum wage from $2.34 to $5. This motivated his workers to work faster and better, improving the quality of his automobiles. Henry Ford not only helped employ people at home, but he opened at least one Ford plant in each of the 6 continents, employing many people. By donating tons of money to help build and equip hospitals, Henry Ford is considered one of the biggest captains of industry. Even though Henry Ford is still recognized as a captain of industry, he emerged as a respected spokesman for right-wing extremists and religious prejudice on the New York Times. On May 22, 1920, he wrote, If fans wish to know the trouble with the American baseball, they have it in 3 words: too much Jew. For other things Henry Ford has done, he should forever be remembered as a captain of industry.